Hey guys, how's it going? Today... Oh wow, the health bar is massive on that. Gonna play some Iron Maiden. I skipped over the easy parts, just like the first couple levels. You know, you watch a show while you do that. There's not too much going on, not too much challenge. So far it seems like it's just basically Assassin. I can't really remember Assassin too much, but it just seems like that's what it's gonna be. Until I hit probably mid-purgatory. Another thing I'm not used to is having the map in the corner of the screen, but it's probably better for viewing experience too, and I should get used to it, or at least I'll try to. I haven't went ahead and got my perks yet, because I kind of had the internal turmoil thinking, well, perks could be updated, and if they are updated, well, I'm not sure if we'll get a respec point, or if new perks will work, or just the general feeling that, you know, you'll have a level 50 character with suboptimal stats, or you made the character in a way that you don't really want. But after a bit of motivation from some people on the Discord, it seems like I'll go ahead and add to them. There's some pretty interesting ones, and I think it's great for people who realize what they're in for. Like, what do they have here? Yeah, like experience gained. You just flat out don't feel, you know, like grinding for experience. There you go, you have that. Even though it's probably a little bit easier now with the XP changes in the Hell one. Awareness. I don't know. I guess if you had to play like an Iron Man mode or something, or that new mode, insane mode, I forget what it's called. You may need that. This one, I'm interested for my mage because I thought the chance to hit with spells was quite high at the end of the end. In Doom mode, level 50, I probably miss a spell 1 in like 100 times. So I'm not sure if the chance has been taken down and then you now have to get up there with this perk, or that this is just really going to help for the early game. Magic items, it's kind of interesting, but when I think about this, you know, twice the chance to find magic items from white items, I don't know if that's really for me. It would be good off like if I was going for like zodiac rings and like other cursed items, but I'll probably make a dedicated magic finder, if anything. This one... I don't really know what this one seems probably like for a different game mode altogether. Yeah, educated would probably be the one where I'd have to try and get that as soon as possible if I was playing Iron Man mode or something, but I imagine I'm gonna go with DFE. DFE is one of those things that, like, I always seem to need it in the Hell one. I very rarely hit cap DFE on my characters, and I have pretty decent gear. It just seems like there's always a little bit to gain, and it's such a powerful stat. AC, there's a little bit of a limiter, because, you know, if you're not an assassin, say you're a gladiator, you have a base chance of being hit of like 20% anyway. So, you may not need that. On this character, I might go for AC after that's done. I think you get a perk every level, so there should be quite a bit left over. And one that I don't think a lot of people really care about. Weapons breaking. is the plus HP. It's one of those things where you could never invest into it in the Hell one because it happened to run on the same, I think it was a suffix. And if you had plus HP, it was always better to have like negative 35 DFE in every case. So you kind of were just stuck with whatever uniques would happen to give you. Or what your base character HP is. But when you're an assassin, it's fairly low. So that would be actually one that I'd very much like to have. So build path wise, I've been going with just an even split on dex and vitality. I pumped dexterity first just because chance to hit is quite low at the start of the game, and it just seems to speed up the leveling much faster. I also made the argument that you know, I could find better items earlier on. Maybe I'd find some crowns or skull crowns or whatever they are. But if I just pump vitality, I don't really think there's too much that I'd be getting instead. Now, it's not entirely true, because I have found some Iron Maiden specific items, and like, what did I find here? This is actually a pretty good helm. I guess it's a rare. But, all pretty moderate stats. Not really, like, good at anything, but it was, 15 strength, 23 dex. So it looks like I was right on track where I needed to be. Then there's these, belts that just happen to have dex and vitality requirements, so. Noticing a lot of really nice quality of life features, I guess I'd call them. And the first one that really caught my eye was that the immunes and vulnerabilities are displayed with a color. On this character, it doesn't really matter very much, I'm imagining, but on my mage, that's a godsend. At the start, it may not be, like, extremely obvious. You know, magic, I think, is like a grayish, I don't know what that is, red. Oh, lots of bosses here. But as I come to remember them, it'll save me a lot of time. Especially at the start, you know, with like cold and acid damage coming into play. It'll probably rely on it a little bit more than just straight memory, like I did with my mage and the Hell one. Something I'm noticing is negative HP, but it's showing up in yellow, and I'm not really sure what that's for. Part of me thinks it's my thorns reflect. But it doesn't happen every time I'm hit, so that kind of makes me think it's thorns. The other one is just like damage here and there that I do. Like there I just got plus 35 health. I don't know where that came from. So it'll take me a little while to know what all these things do. Seems to be a lot of undead, so it's good to get these on. I don't think I can even wear that, so we'll go with mana for now. I haven't seen anything with cold damage yet, but here's hoping. And I also really like that you can just whiz around after the battle's over. I know for me it's not a huge deal, but for a lot of other people, they... Like, I think one person said they even quit the mod because of that. So, always nice to see that. And it's not really something you can exploit. You know, you have to get really far out of the way and like have a 30-second cooldown to be able to use it. So it's not like people are just gonna, you know, like in other games, if you stay out of combat, you just run faster. You just have to avoid attacks to be considered not in combat. Here it's just like, as soon as something pops on the screen, it should be fine. I found one of the shields for the Iron Maidens, but honestly I found just having the higher damage at the start seems to be better. Bow's not great, but at least they get a bow. I remember on Assassin I had like an Ethro bow with like one of the highest damage rolls, and it still was just like okay. People say to use spells, but it's like you can't really pump out like a level 15 spell and expect to do a ton of damage. Almost always better teleporting to kill. So I guess the plan now, I like the vitality because my regeneration is really fast, so if I go and get a drink or something after a fight, I just come back and bam, full HP again. But I do know that there's not a... I might just break my weapons. They're just white weapons anyway. Something different from this playthrough is that I'm not getting any magic, despite my heavy reliance on Town Portal. I'd like to get Town Portal right out of the way, but more magic. Got lots of magic just from shrines. None of that was added myself, but yeah, it'll be a little while before I can use Town Portal, but so far I used some of the gold I found to do just that. Just buy some relics of TP, and the game's been kind of lucky to give me TP as well, so. It is a pretty cool outline graphic. I also like that the weapon breaking sign is there. Oof. Just gives you a heads up, because sometimes you're not looking at the corner of your screen, or you know, mid-battle. And usually you're hunkered down in a corner anyway, so I don't find the pop-ups that annoying yet. Maybe on a mage it would be a lot worse, but for now I'm happy. It's really nice of them to just stand on the outside the whole time there. The AI on horror is quite poor. But even though uploads won't be as frequent, I think, as when I was younger, with course and everything, I think slowly but surely just make my way through it. I'll probably get to like late purgatory before either a new class comes out or, I don't know, I decide that I like the character and want to pursue it. I'd say it's so new that I probably will just play it all the way through. I can't imagine it being, like, terrible. But I do know that the stat point grind, if you want to call it a grind, depending on how you play the game and what you like to play, it can become a grind if you do not like the character. But for me, if I do not like the character, it becomes quite tedious. Just because I know that, like, you know, I'd rather put in the couple hours before to have really nice things later. But I know that that's not really the way to play a game for longevity. That's the way to play when you're treating it, I guess, semi like a sport. But yeah, so what really ends up happening is if you like the character, you know, you'll probably play it, you'll do like Indarial quests for stats, or you'll do like just runs to the catacombs, look for some shrines, you know, the natural way of getting stats. But if I find that I don't like doing that on this character, then I would probably just do the rushed method, mushroom stat. Something else that kind of makes me not bother, 22 to 60. Seems like when you have 133,000, that's not very much, but I don't need it right now. I do not think. Gonna have to buy some new weapons, though. Oh, this was my good dagger. Whoops. That's a shame. I guess I should go back to town. And something now I'm seeing is the critical damage. It actually gives a noise when it happens. I thought before it was just kind of like you finish the enemy, or it was like varied, just to kind of give you a sense of, I don't know, a nice smash, if you will. But with that's really awesome for traps. Having all that movement speed. Sash? I'm not really sure what's going on with the sash. I thought it would give me more potion slots in my belt, but maybe the lower level ones just don't do that yet. So I guess that's fine. Just gonna see if the next level is close.
I've never been here before.
Or the stairs, I mean to say. Yeah. Alright, let's go to town. So I don't keep things very neat. Obviously I don't use mana yet, so there's a large portion of potions. They're just going to sit there until I get a quest that I have to do.
For a moment. I have a story you might find interesting. Greetings!
Embryon brand, okay. I found that I have like a lot of gold for this stage of the game. I don't remember if it's always been like this, but 4K seems like it's actually a decent amount of, you know, damage this early on. Or I mean, money this early on. That is a lot of damage to demons. Well, I definitely need a new... Oh, excuse me, mace. Oh, cool. Critical hit chance. That's a nice suffix. Alright. Guess it makes sense to do the cheaper option. Just keep things conserved, because eventually I'm going to start needing to buy actual rings and stuff. So if he has a really good Apex string, I'll just have to buy that outright. Doo-doo-doo. Only 9 durability, that's a little sad, but it seems like it'd be a decent amount of damage. Don't need that. The stash is just so big that a lot of the times I don't even care to leave stuff in here. It just doesn't really take up that much room. And if I find something better, I just drop it, so. Still thinking about perks. Now with damage resistance, it's something that really stood out because it's not in the Hell one. But when you think about just reducing your damage by a percentage, it seems really good. But I'm not sure what applies first, the DFE or the resistance percentage. I think it's in the guide. I'm pretty sure that it was said by Mordor at one point. But for now, I'm just not sure, so that's what kind of leaves me hesitant. I was even just thinking about it like purely from a numbers basis.
How may I serve you?
And it was like, if say an Uber boss does like 150 damage to you in physical damage at Doom mode or something, and I have 2% melee absorption, so I'd take, I don't know, 1 or 2 less DFE. That's pretty good. But if you're taking a lot of little hits from like scavengers or something, like something more reasonable, where it's not like just a giant Uber boss, it's more likely you're going to take like 60 damage, I would imagine, or I don't know, 120 in the crit. So it's like DFE seems pretty good at that point. I don't know, I'll have to crunch the numbers on it. I'm sure that like there's a fine percentage that you'd want to have. And also to see what the availability like is on gear and armor later game. I thought I had another book. There we go. Huh. Could have swore I had another book in there. And I noticed that armor has DFE and damage reduction percentage built into it. So I may come along and just see that, you know, at the end game armor for this character has, you know, with all its end game stuff, like 20% damage I don't take. That seems like it'd be pretty high. So DFE at that point would probably be better. But you also can't get, you have a cap on the DFE you can get, but I don't believe there's a cap on the absorption. So that's another thing to think about. Ah, the town was right there. Ha. I guess there's not too much to do strategically on a melee character yet. When you don't have any spells to really like distance yourselves, whether that's lightning or firewalls, or even Stone Curse to kind of give yourself some pause in the battle. It just seems like you gotta play your angles. It's about the only thing I can really think to do. I might actually try that. Some of the guys were given like 200 XP per kill, so that's pretty reasonable to think that, you know, I might get another 20% XP per kill. Oh, okay, so yeah, like Anders said, a guy on Discord, strength does become needed just as dex does and vitality for this character, so I don't think I can ignore it any longer. I'll have to pump it up close to where my dex is. And while I wanted to play multiplayer with a mage just to kind of start out, when the perks system is not quite refined, I don't want to do that just yet. And also, I've heard some people say they had some issues with the multiplayer stash saving things. So for me, I like to stash items, not necessarily to use them at level 1, but just because, you know, when you're endgame, it takes a long time to find some set items, so if I find an assassin set item on my mage, you know, a class I actually like playing a little bit more than you know, the assassin. It's like I'm definitely going to use it on my assassin. Cloth belt. That's cool. Lots of belts early on. Yeah, that was not smart. I feel like I could have came at them at the top. Would have saved me some HP. Oh boy. Are these guys? Oh jeez. I thought they were stuck on barrels or something. That's a lot of damage. Jeez. As for multiplayer, I'd like the challenge early on, but the drops being all different for every character would be a bit of a hindrance. It wouldn't be terrible because, you know, I could use items on different characters as I play them, but I don't know. Right now it just seems like it's not at the point where I should be worrying about it. Let's swap that out. And even though people say it's easier, like pretty easy on single player comparatively to the Hell, on Doom mode, I'll probably be under geared and understated, so should still be a challenge, especially with the quests. There we go. There's another boss. Holy cow. It's kind of hard to see the items when I'm looking way up in the corner. You know, wooden club. Maybe I'll use that. Ooh,
I can't carry anymore.
I think that's a rare.
I have no room.
Okay. Well, that's cool. It has negative DFE just built into it. That's cool. I don't think I like the shield way yet. I'll just sell that maybe. Alright, so I think next level I can wear that. Yeah. So then I'll dump this bow. All in all, not a very good set of stats to have, but it does have 17 armor class. So maybe I should forego the strength and just pump up my dex. But then I have Arcane's Valor to worry about too, so tough calls. I should probably heed Illyria's advice when making new characters and just not give in to the items, because the item craze is what I used to do. Whatever item I find would dictate what my stats would be, and it did work before because some items were fucking batshit insane, just so much stronger than everything else at that point. I think he likes to do one of every stat, or like of your primary stats, like keep them really close together. I just do them in bushels of 5 because it makes me feel like I'm progressing a little bit faster. But I guess
I have no This must be what Griswold. This must be what Griswold wanted.
So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet. I noticed the auto pickup for gold doesn't always work, but
I can't carry anymore.
male coif. Rogues only. High resist melee damage. That's pretty good. Looks like Rat Nest from Path of Exile. But yeah, the gold auto pickup feature doesn't always seem to connect, but I figure when it doesn't connect, it's not a big deal. It's not like gold is ever like solely highly coveted. There's nothing really to spend it on other than some really good items. So, well, that's if Griswold has them. I don't usually use that method, but now that it's been made much more convenient to reset Griswold with a gold cost, maybe I'll look into it. I'll have to drop this door. Oh, there we go. Curved dagger. Oh, it does tell me my crit odd. Alright. I feel like I'm critting actually a decent amount as is, but it is nice just to have something with some more durability. It seems like I run out of durability a lot. And I don't think I'm gonna go with sword and mace for the extra damage. I'm not at the point yet where like I'm dying for the damage. Maybe in like a quest or something, but it just seems like a big hassle for right now, especially if this class has a bow.
I can't carry anymore.
Thorn Buckler. Three to 6 thorns damage. 11 to 21 damage. Yeah, I don't really think it's acceptable to use that yet, but oh, there we go. I forgot to identify this. That's actually something decent. That's a decent amount of damage. Has some built-in melee reduction. Very nice. is this enough to go back? Honestly, probably not. The amount of gold that a relic of Town Portal costs, I think is 200. So all this stuff here probably does not sell for 200, so I'll just dump... yeah, screw it. I'll dump that. Yeah, that should be good enough. It's a handy buff to have. All the bosses I think are dead though, so probably not that handy, but... yeah, such a fucking hassle. I'm gonna have to unlearn that bad habit of holding shift while I fight these guys. Maybe I should have kept that mace, eh? Now, I don't know if I saw that right, but that looked like splash damage to me, so if this character has splash damage, that's quite a huge benefit. I do not believe that that was a feature of the assassin in the Thehell one. I can try it now. Oh, I do have splash damage. That's pretty neat. Now, I always kind of figured that the assassin, or... I'm forgetting all the names here, with all the new subclasses, that it was a single target damage machine. Pretty good for uber bosses, the assassin, but with the splash damage, this could change things a lot. Splash damage, thorns, that's a lot of different damage sources to work with. I guess the main question for me is, how can I play this character late game if I cannot lifesteal with my thorns? And that's not to say that it's impossible, but I know that life regeneration gets cut like an insane amount. an insane amount from just being in the crypt. I think it was like 50% just for like being in the crypt. I'm not even sure why, because health regen, like, well, it's okay. High lifesteal seemed to be what characters needed when they got down and they were, you know, fighting in the crypt. Now there's more ways to get life regeneration in this game, so I don't know, I guess I could play around with it, try and read some more. I always hate asking Mordor on the forums, because usually it's written somewhere. It's just, you know, with like the Thehell2 and people saying things that they think they know. It all becomes a big meddled mess. Kind of like armor piercing. I thought armor piercing, it acted sort of like lifesteal. The highest you have takes precedent, but it actually sacks, so the more you know. I haven't made the view on this quite as big as it can get. I know that I'm playing a melee character, so it's probably not that hard to maneuver myself, but I do kind of want to get used to just playing a little bit bigger than normal. Probably best to let it break there. I don't want this to lose its durability. The video is about 50 minutes long. Oh, damn it. So, I'll wrap things up here. I know people don't like 2-hour long videos, so see you guys next time.